Welcome to the Kingdom Man Podcast, where we discuss some of the hard topics facing men with a Christian perspective. I am your host, James Russell. Happy to be here with you today. We just want to take a few minutes of your day to give you some information, some food for thought, and hopefully help change your life. So today I want to talk on the topic of just do it. I know it sounds like a ripoff from Nike, but that's not really what we're talking about. It comes from the basis of I believe that most people already know what they are supposed to be doing. The question is, are they doing it? In my life, in my experience, there has been several times when I come to a crossroad and I just don't know what to do. Well, what I'm saying is I actually do know what to do, but I'm trying to figure out whether or not I should really do it. Or I take time and try to see if there's other things that maybe I should do. And I think that we waste a whole lot of time exploring all the possibilities that there could be when pretty much from the get-go, we already know what we're supposed to do. So my first piece of advice is don't waste time analyzing it. Just do it. There's a phrase that has come to mind, and I can't tell you where I learned it, but it's an old phrase, and it happens quite often to me. It probably happens to you. It's called paralysis by analysis. What does that mean? It means you don't do anything because you're considering everything. So instead of taking action steps to get you where you want to go, you think about the steps that could lead you to this point or lead you to that point. Instead of actually just moving, you do absolutely nothing, hoping that maybe the perfect plan will get you exactly where you need to go. In most cases, there is no such thing as a perfect plan. You can hear war veterans say no battle plan survives war. It doesn't survive contact. You can hear Jocko say that any plan that gets you 80% of the way there, that's a go. But yet we don't apply that to our own lives. What plan do you need that can get you even 80% there is amazing. That's a go. But I know I personally will overanalyze things. I will sit and not do anything because I want the perfect plan. And we waste time. Now, we all know time is a valuable asset. There's only so much that you have to give. So why would we sit around and waste our time when we have exactly what we already need to do in our head, but we're trying to think of other things, other possibilities? We waste time. So don't waste time analyzing it. Just do it. Don't fall into the trap of paralysis by analysis. And then my second point is don't let others give you an out. Now that's where I also have fallen. And likely you have fallen into this trap as well. This is where I don't want to make the call, so I don't make a call and then rely on other people to make the call. Does that make sense? So instead of making a call for my family, I wuss out and don't make any call. And then my wife will say, well, maybe we should do this. And then that way I can shift the blame on her. I don't intentionally do this. And maybe you don't intentionally do this, but somehow it creeps in. Somehow it happens. Don't let other people give you an out. Even if they can tell you, okay, you don't have to worry about doing that. What do you already know that you're supposed to do? That's what you're supposed to be doing. You know it. Don't let other people tell you that you don't have to. Don't let other people make the call for you. That's laziness. And I've fallen into that trap. Don't fall into that trap with me. All right, so what are some examples that we can use from this about overthinking, doing what you're really supposed to be doing, and knowing what you're really supposed to be doing? A quick and obvious answer is working out and eating right. One thing that most guys really know what they're supposed to do. We know we should be working out. We know we should be eating right. But do we do it? I would say, judging by most people that I see out in public, we do not. Judging for myself, looking at my life, looking at everyone else to tell me what's okay, what's not, I don't do what I'm supposed to do. And I know what I'm supposed to do. You know what you're supposed to do. We know that going to Krispy Kreme is not going to end up giving us six-pack abs, especially if six-pack abs are the goal. And that might not be your goal, and that's fine if it's not your goal, but you know you should be in shape. And several of us know that, but knowing something and doing something is two different things, right? So we got to step up our game and actually do what we're supposed to do. Take the time. You know, what's really important in your life is what you're willing to spend on. So if it's not showing up in your bank account or in your time, then you really don't value it. So we can say that we really value God. We can say we really value people, but how much are you investing in other people? How much are you giving to the local church or to local ministries? Are you really invested in that? Or is that something that you like to think that you're that kind of person? If I looked at your bank account, would it reflect what your values are? Or do you just have ideals and not values? You've got to do what you know you're supposed to do. Now, that could go to an extreme. Everything has an extreme side, so you could overdo it, and you can spend so much time working out and eating right that you don't really have much of a life to speak of anymore. That you spend all that time and all that energy, and to the detriment of your family, to the detriment of your wife, your kids, your local church. That's not okay either. So there may be times when you cannot do everything, but that doesn't mean that you do nothing. When was the last time you worked out? What does that workout include? See, working out doesn't mean you have to go to and join a gym. That doesn't mean you have to be there 5 days a week at 5:30 in the morning to accomplish that. Now, that may be what you need to do, and that may work out for your time, and that may get you to the goal that you're trying to go after. But the vast majority of guys that I see out in public, they don't do any of that because they can't do what they really think that they should do. As far as, I think I should work out every day of the week. Well, I can't work out every day of the week, so I do no days in the week. Well, that's not good either. Working out every day is not good. Working out no days is not good either. So figuring out how to incorporate what you're supposed to do in your life, in your day-to-day. It may be where your work is scheduled so that you only have certain days where you have the time available. You may be a long haul truck driver, and Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, you're out on the load. Well, you don't really have the every 2 hours I can do 20 push-ups or something like that where it would incrementally get you where you're wanting to go. You can't do that while you're driving a truck. I understand that. But figuring out a way to incorporate. So if you're back on Thursdays, if you're back on Fridays, you figure out, okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that may not work, but I can do 50 push-ups at the end of the day before I go to sleep, or whatever that case may be. You don't have to have a lot of equipment in order to work out. You don't have to have a lot of time. You can do a lot and get your body in shape using body weight with just a little bit of time if you're willing to invest it. But instead, a lot of guys says, well, I don't have the time, so I will do nothing. I don't have the time now, so that's going to dictate what I do the rest of my life. And as a result, we get what we got. You got that stomach hanging out in front of your your pants. It's overlapping the belt. That's never a good place to be. You know what you're supposed to do. I don't have to tell you that, but you will talk yourself out of it. And if you can't get by well enough by talking yourself out of it, if someone asks you about it, then you have to come up with some other answer, and that's where other people can talk you out of it. But just because your wife says, I like a little more weight on you, doesn't mean you need to be 260 pounds when you're 5'3". Those dimensions just don't work out. If you're 6'7" and you're 260 pounds, you're probably a little thin. But just because she likes a little weight on you doesn't mean it gives you an out so that you don't have to work out anymore. Because trust me, would she like a little weight on you or you to be capable of defending and protecting the family? Out of those two, defending and protecting the family is going to be way more important to her and way more attractive to her. So you can put on weight that's called muscle. And that muscle is also very attractive. So just because you have a spare tire does not mean that you're more attractive. But you can add weight. They always say muscle weighs more than fat. I'm actively trying to make changes. I'm trying to be a better man. I'm sure that you're trying to be a better man as well. And maybe this tip will ring in the back of your head. And throughout this week, just think about the instances where you may be overanalyzing something, or maybe you're looking for someone to tell you that you don't have to do what you really know that you're supposed to do. Trust me. Save the time. Don't waste your time letting someone else give you an out or wasting time trying to overanalyze it. Do something and you'll make it up in the end. In fact, this is going to be something that will set you apart from many other men. They'll think you're a very decisive person because you don't take a long period of time to come up with a decision. You found this plan that will get you 80% of the way there, and you go for it. You know what you're supposed to do. Don't waste the time. Just do it. Thanks for listening in today, guys. You can connect with us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page that you can like. You can find it at Kingdom Man Podcast. Like the page and connect with other Kingdom men as we work on our journey together to be better men, better fathers, better husbands, and be Kingdom men. Men who are out for the kingdom of God. Thanks, guys. See you next week.